back to more Lord of the Rings Online. Now, I finally did go and set the landscape difficulty. I put it at tier 3, Fearless, and we'll see how that goes and adjust accordingly if needed. But besides that, let's go ahead and get started with the episode.
Our fortunes are lost, and our people broken.
Gimli has not turned his eyes away from the spires since we were cast out, Kippen. I wonder, does he truly believe a share of the blame is his? In truth, the blame lies with Voskmoon, Zorith, and Sauron himself. By Sauron's own hand, Voskmoon was corrupted by the ring, and he is now bound to it by pride and greed, as the Nazgul were to their own rings. Gimli's a fine dwarf, and he has done my people no ill. He must not believe that his efforts to aid us were the cause of such sorrow. It was Voskmoon and his Firehorns. As he commanded, the spire is now called the Oath-Taker's Horn. What oath has been taken, I ask? An oath to bring ruin upon our own people? Voskmoon may as well consider it fulfilled then. Spockworth snorts indignantly. Now, what do we have over there? Do you see the two of them by the statue of Sauron? Well, they're certainly not dwarves. Could they be allies of yours? Let's go take a look. And you know what? Let me put another one of these mount speed things on. You found two elves standing beneath the statue of Sauron. What business have you in these lands, Hobbit? Did you travel hither with a host of men, or is this land your home? Speak at once, or my spear shall be swift. Did you not hear? I said speak. Why have you come here? You introduce yourself to Megaril and tell her of your journeys with the host of the West and your efforts to ensure the success of the Ringbearer's quest and the downfall of Sauron the enemy. You also tell Megaril of the dwarves of Mordor and their efforts to find the lost dwarf rings in Sauron's hordes. Very well, Kippen. I am Megaril of Lindon, and my companion is Durnaith. We are among the last remnants of a great alliance in this realm, and it brought us joy and relief to learn that Sauron had truly fallen. Death has always eluded the Dark Lord, but I have heard that his ring is gone and his essence diminished to naught. I know not why any would seek the dwarf rings, or any of the artifacts that was wrought through Sauron's corruption. For now, the evils that he has done to the peoples of Middle-earth might begin to heal at last. I never thought I would look upon the plains of Gorgoroth again, but fate has brought me hither once more. You see, Durnaith and I have returned to this land in search of our lost friend and kin, Theleron. During what we now call the War of the Last Alliance, our friend was taken by the enemy and borne into Mordor on the back of one of the winged fell beasts. Our efforts to rescue Theleron before he was taken beyond Mornon failed, and in doing so, we nearly lost another of Gil-galad's favored warriors to the corruption of Morgul's steel. Even after Sauron's fell at the end of the Second Age, we could not find Theleron in Mordor. He was hidden somewhere beyond our sight, and the enemy's forces still remained to harry us, as few as they were after the war. Thus, our search begins anew. If Theleron lives still, we shall find him. Durnaith and I have been attempting to learn what the spirits residing in these watching stones have seen that they might unwittingly aid us, but none have answered our challenges. Other than this one, Durnaith beheld a terrible form rise from the statue of Sauron, and it spoke to him, warning him that he would share the fate of the damned in Mordoth. I have never known such a place in Mordor, but in the language of elves it means black pit. Indeed, this has given us much to consider. Perhaps Durnaith might know the fate of the dwarf rings you spoke of. I am recovering from my encounter with one of the enemy's fell spirits, and my will is exhausted. Allow me a moment, Hobbit, and we shall speak. Durnaith takes a moment to steady himself. If Megaril had not wished to speak with us, you would not stand where you are now. What is it you want? You tell Durnaith that Megaril mentioned the fell spirit that inhabited the Watching Stone, and that she and Durnaith had come in search of the elf called Theleron. You also mentioned the dwarf rings and ask if Durnaith knows any of their history beyond what they were first granted to the dwarf kingdoms by Sauron. Indeed, we have come in search of our companion Theleron. This is a quest of our own, and one given to us long ago by the High King of my people before he was slain by Sauron. As for the fell spirit, the one that rose from the statue looked like a shade of Sauron himself, but weaker and less wicked in form. It was an echo of Sauron's sorcery, an echo of the Dark Lord, a glamour. This glamour told me of Mordor, the black pit beneath Barad-dûr, where the damned are imprisoned. And it also told me to leave these lands or I would join the Forgotten Ones in the depths of the black pits and never again find my way from Mordor. I do not heed the warnings of such spirits, but these tidings are both good and ill. If Teleron lives, he may have been taken into the black pits. Thus, we would have never found him again when last we destroyed Barad-dûr. He was hidden away far beneath the scorched lands of Mordor, left to pass an age in silence and darkness, and bearing whatever tortures the Dark Lord devised for him. To answer your questions of the dwarf rings, I have heard a few tales and rumors of them, but little else. As I have heard it, they did not work as Sauron had planned. The dwarf rings granted might and luck, as well as some manner of concealment, but they did not corrupt the dwarves into servants of the Dark Lord as the rings of men did. Instead, the dwarf rings brought forth powerful and insatiable greed from the deep within the minds of the dwarf kings, a greed that bred in them a compulsion to seek wealth by any means, and to hoard it in their own vast halls. But other creatures were as fond of gold as the dwarves, and so for some of the dwarf kingdoms the rings brought them to ruin. I am afraid that is all I know of them. And so I believe it is time that Megaril and I resume our search and seek out Mordoth. Your allies here seem to have great need of you. If our paths cross again, Megaril and I shall stand at your side. Let's see what Gimli has to say about all this. Gimli appears to be muttering to himself as you approach. You gently place your hand on his shoulder, but his gaze remains fixed on the spire. I have made more than a few great mistakes in my time, Kippen, but as any fine dwarf would, and as I always have, I put them to rights. The tortures Sauron brought upon Voskmoon might not be undone, but there is still a goodness in these dwarves, a fair few of them anyway. To sulk here wishing of a different fate for the stout axes, that is not the way of a dwarf. The ring he seeks, this Monthrif, it shall not free him from his delusion of greed. I say Voskmoon must be convinced of his folly, or he must be brought low. This is not as simple a matter as it was with the Dour Hands. These Firehorns are not cruel or evil in their hearts, but the promise of a dwarf ring's power has begun to chip away at their good sense. You and I saw what the ring did to Frodo. Even in the short span of months he bore it before our paths were forced apart. If Voskmoon was forced to wear it in the dungeons of Barad-dûr during his imprisonment, and then deprived of its power by Sauron, his mind may have withered into an obsession. Although being a dwarf, I think he may have fared a little bit better than Gollum. Kippen, I do not wish to raise arms against Voskmoon and his folk if it can be helped. Voskmoon may not allow us inside the Oath-taker's horn, but that does not mean that we cannot come to the doors of the spire. Ha! Go to the hidden gate of the Oath-taker's horn and summon the Firehorns. Deliver them an invitation for King Greytooth to meet us upon the field. When that is done, we shall speak of peace, and of having some better dwarf sense. Alright, sorry to start the episode with so much reading, my goodness. But we have a lot of lore background here into this quest chain that we're embarking upon. Let me go on the other side of this cliff here so I can come from... Or wait a minute. I wonder... The hidden... Yeah, it says the hidden gate. For a second I thought maybe I could have just gone in through the front, but... Clearly, that is not the way things are to be done. I kind of want to fight something real quick, just to kind of see how the Landscape 3 is going to be looking like. I mean, it's not bad, but it does take significantly longer to kill some enemies here. I think it'll make things a little bit more fun, you know? Like, Mordor should be super difficult. If anything, I should have this on max difficulty. We'll see how we fare on 3, though, and like I said, we'll adjust accordingly. If we want. Alright, we got a long ride. All the way around, and then down, and up and around the little hill. And then it's gonna make me ride back to Gimli, isn't it? I have a bad feeling about that. My little ghost has been handling the terrains of Mordor pretty well, though. I'm pretty impressed with it. It's a fun mount. Definitely like it. I want to get some of those giant boars. I've seen people like riding around on giant pigs, which seems kind of cool. Hopefully I'll unlock one of those at some point soon. What I would really like is one of those fell beasts, you know? Fly around in the skies of Middle-earth. That would be great. If I could get a great eagle as a mount. Totally lore-breaking, but it would be fine. You hear heavy hammer falls inside the hidden gate. It seems the Firehorns have been ordered to seal it. Alright, so now it's making me go all the way around to the main gate. It's kind of annoying. Let me see if I can just like jump down here for efficiency. I'm in the right spot, kind of. Yeah, let me go down through here, just not die. You discover a metal rot mechanism outside the main gate. You hear muffled trumpeting as Atur and 2 Firehorn warriors exit the Oath-Taker's horn. You should not have come back, Kippen. There shall be no peace between us, neither now nor once the ring is found. We shall send Gimli a message of our own. Your head. Firehorn warriors, huh? Yeah, even just like basic mobs, it's taking me a little while to kill them. Got an evil dwarf slayer deed. I don't think Gimli's gonna be very pleased with how that went. The Firehorns did what now? They attacked you and threatened to kill my folk? Gimli's face flushes with anger. Well, that settles it. The time for talk has ended. Our hand is forced, Kippen. The dwarves of Mordor have been turned against themselves. Voskmoon's treachery cannot go unanswered. We must stop the Firehorns from seeking the dwarf ring. No matter their supposed might, some family heirlooms are best forgotten, I think. It is not unlike the axe of Mithril Ziggelberg, of which you once spoke. If the search does not bring them to ruin, finding it will not change their fortunes. If the men of Mordor still desire the ring, they shall not rest until it is recovered, whether it is by their own hands or taken from those foolish enough to wield it in Mordor. No matter where he leads them, Voskmoon is putting his folk into great danger. The fool would lead his people into the fires of Mount Doom if he thought the dwarf ring might be hidden there. These Firehorns are even worse than the dour hands we encountered in our adventures, my friend. At least I knew where I stood with the dour hands. Perhaps Legolas was right after all. It's decided then. For the good of the dwarves of Mordor, we must storm the Oath-Taker's horn. Sweet.
How have we fallen so far?
At my request, Gimli has offered to escort me to Zorith's chamber in the heights of the spire. We shall force Voskmoon to hear my counsel, even if he heeds not a single word of it. Indeed, the stout axes may still be free of the tyrants of Mordor, but Voskmoon has become one of them, whether he believes it or not. I trust Gimli's axe shall keep me from harm, but I would ask that you seek Svurtsting, Dreri, Noth, and Freki as we storm the spire. If they have not already realized the king's folly, I would have you convince them to abandon the search for the dwarf rings and to seek refuge among Durin's folk as Gimli has proposed. As for Atur, he may stand in our way, but he is a dwarf of words and little else. He has always sought to please those in power, and I think his loyalty is now as false as it has ever been. If he stands in the way of the king, He must be defeated and exposed as the coward that he is. Go, Kippen. Gimli and I shall follow you into the spire. Hold a moment, Kippen. You surely saw, as I did, that some among the stout axes seemed unsettled by the king's command that we be cast out from the spire. What will become of them? Shall they be met with the same threats and curses? Perhaps they shall even be unfairly marked as traitors. I cannot speak for King Dane, but I would offer the stout axes a new home among my folk. We shall have need of hardy dwarves now that Sauron has fallen. If you find any of those who still name themselves stout axes in the Oath-Taker's Horn, aid them and offer them my promise that they shall find refuge in the halls of Durin's folk. Aha! The Firehorns have sealed the hidden gates, but they have left their greatest weakness exposed. Don't you see, Kippen? The lower gate is not the only passage into and out of the spire, and it leads to the very heart of their forges. Ruin their forges and break their weapons, and I dare say their search will be over before it begins. If the Firehorns discover you, do what you must. When the dour hands treated my folk as the Firehorns treat the stout axes now, I did not shy from battle. While you'll deal with that, I'll escort Spockworth into the spire. He has a mind to speak with King Greytooth, but I do not think it wise. Ah well, I have my axe, if talking won't do. Alright, into the spire. We got a lot of quests to do in there. I do enjoy the increased difficulty here with the landscape, but admittedly it makes the series a little slower. It's because it obviously takes me longer to go through stuff. Got some guards here. Thankfully they won't necessarily aggro on me, but yeah, I don't need them for a quest. We start destroying some of the forges. Actually, I do need to kill a smith. Need to destroy some of the weapon racks. Let me kill this guy. Alright, lots of stuff here. Tools of persuasion. I am sorry, Kippen, but my duty is to my king. I fight to the death, Kippen. Do what you must. Regrettably, Svertsing could not be turned from his loyalty to King Greytooth. Oh, that was Svertsing. I didn't even realize until after the fact. Very unfortunate. What do we have here? The deed. Okay, great. The king should have heeded Gimli's warnings. Get my Warden's Triumph and Adroit Maneuver over. Always enjoying throwing my javelins here. Right, this guy, sure, I will fight him. Get my recklessness up before going in. Sometimes I kind of overkill on the gambits here, but that's alright. The king should have heeded Gimli's warnings. Alright, we got these two clowns here. And desolation them. Forgot my resounding challenge has like a massive area of effect. It's alright. Another forge doused. Let's see. Still need to kill some of these. Workers. Don't need workers. Still need some of these. I do. We could probably crank the difficulty a little bit. See how high we can take it. I don't know. Right, I think it's kind of interesting that, you know, this is like an NPC that you normally can interact with, but now you can only kill it. You have destroyed many forges, tools, and weapons vital to King Greytooth and the Firehorns' quest to seek the Dwarf Rings. It is possible the Firehorns still possess a great deal of armor and weapons in their stores, but for the moment, you have stopped them from forging new equipment. Gimli and Spockworth will be pleased. And look at that, guys. We leveled up, finally. Level 122. We got some of these that I'll just let expire for now. Those are going to be for future seasons. Alright. Some madness has taken my kin. Have I only rescued 3? I thought I have rescued a lot more than that by now, but I guess not. Interesting. Corpse of Frecky is upstairs? Okay. Let me see if I can go upstairs. Oh no, lag. Alright, we're back. We're back. Yeah, that's the entrance. Where's the little ramp that takes you downstairs? Am I going crazy? Or upstairs, I should say. Oh, right here. It's a little bit of a spoiler spamming my delete key. I know there's a corpse waiting for me up there. Alright, 4 out of 8. And 5. There's Dreary.
Have you a mind to aid my folk?
It was not supposed to be like this. Those who would not follow Voskum were slain by Ator and the others, and now all I have are these stones by which to remember them. What have we done? Where is the honor among my people? Whether Manthrith holds any power or not, it has brought great ruin upon our people than even Sauron could have devised. Gimli spoke true, but the truth came too late to save my kin. I shall join Gimli's folk, but first I must mourn my own. This is no home of mine. I think Mr. Zoreth treated us better. Tragically, Frecky appears to have been slain by his own kin. That is tragic. That guy's super drunk. Okay, I think that's everything on this floor. There's Noth.
This is no home for a dwarf.
Firehorns, bah, these dwarves are no kin of mine. Say what you will of her, at least Zoreth never chained us to the doors. You and Gimli have seen much beyond these lands. And if this is what my home has now become, I should like to follow you where you go and leave this land behind. It is good to be out of these chains, my friend, but I cannot leave just yet. For the honor of my family and my fallen kin, I shall gather what remains of the stout axes and find them a place of rest in the low hills of Dor Amarth. For what has become of my folk? These Firehorns are no kin of mine. Alright, just double checking here. I don't think I need to defeat any more enemies. Alright, let me go up. Yet another tier. The king should have heeded Gimli's warning. Alright. You have done well to free the stout axes from the Oath-Taker's horn. It is likely that King Voskmoon Greytooth will lead the Firehorns to ruin in his search for the dwarf rings. Instead, you have offered the remaining stout axes a new chance at freedom among Durin's folk. Alright. What do we have here? We have Mithril Rot Lockbox. Come back to steal the king's mithril, have you? I think not. King Voskmoon should have killed you. I told him not to let you go free. You're too late. The king leads his army across Dor Amarth even now. Ever the lickspittle, Aetur's eagerness to forsake his allegiances brought him to a sorry end. Okay. Gimli and Spockworth are here.
How have we fallen so far?
What should have been a time of joy for my people has instead become a time of great sorrow. Svartsting was a fine dwarf, and I am saddened that he could not be made to see the madness of the king. As for Aetur, he was just as swift to seek Zoreth's favor. He was not but a lickspittle, no matter his master. Such behavior does not befit any proud dwarf. Aside from Noth and Dre, I saw only a handful of my people leave the spire for the western ruins. Poor Freki should have been among them, but Voskmoon's petty Firehorn raised their axes against him. He has put his own foolish greed before the needs of his folk, and I shall never forgive him for that. Even so, I must speak with him at once. Where is he? It was no easy task, but I have brought Spockworth hither unharmed. Where is Voskmoon? You tell Gimli that Spockworth and Voskmoon has led an army of Firehorns onto the plains of Dor Amarth. Gimli lets out an indignant snort, and Spockworth falls silent. Bah, we came all the way to stop his quest, and we haven't stopped a thing. We are too late, Kippen. I wish I had not come to this. Gimli sighs sorrowfully. These were fine dwarves, and they did not deserve such a sorry fate. Even after his downfall, Sauron has brought his ruin upon them. The ring twisted Voskmoon's mind, and now his people share his obsession with wielding its power. Whatever remains of it, that is. Where now has Voskmoon led them? To ruin, surely. But where in this blasted land does he now search for the dwarf ring? Wait a moment. Zoreth kept many notes in her search for the rings, didn't she? We are here in her old chambers, so let us search for them. With all that has happened, I should say that they'll be of more use to us. Alright, let's see what we got. Got a bunch of research here. This page makes note of King Greytooth's boar during his imprisonment. This page makes reference to a passage within Barad-dûr that leads into the Mordoth. This page lists the names of the 7 dwarf rings before are marked with unsettling notes. This page speaks of a vault within the depths of the Black Pit of Mordoth.
Long have we toiled, and for what?
What have you learned? I beg you, let me see those pages. You offer the pages of Zoreth's research to Spockworth, and he reads for a time. Upon reaching the notes about the terrible creature beneath Barad-dûr, he pauses a moment. When at last he comes to the names of the 4 rings that bear Zoreth's mark, he seems at once stunned. What's this?
Long have we toiled, and for what?
Have you read what I have, Kippen? Devoured? What sort of creature could have devoured 4 of the dwarf rings? Surely Sauron would have slain them at once for such an offense. Spockworth reads over Zora's notes again. Ah yes, the key around the king's neck. Sauron gave King Voskmoon a key and deceived him into believing that the Mithril lockbox was all that stood between him and reclaiming Manthriv for his folk. It was likely never within, and who can say where it might be now? As Zareth has written, the Order of the Eye has learned much of Mordoth through their expeditions in the deep dungeons of Barad-dûr. I thought they toiled for the return of the Dark Lord, but this vault she has written of. This is what must have drawn them into Barad-dûr. None but the Gurzuil, the Deathless, may have ever known of such a vault, and what would be kept guarded and hidden so far beneath the earth. A great abyss has sunken into Mordoth, to the north of Barad-dûr, and the Order thinks it an omen that Sauron's secrets are to be laid bare for the most loyal of his servants. If there remains any chance of finding Manthriv, King Voskmoon shall lead the Firehorns into the abyss of Mordoth. Patrol the mouth of the abyss and see if King Voskmoon and the Firehorns have left any sign of their descent. For my part, I shall study more of Zoreth's research, with Gimli's protection, of course. Once I have finished, I will send him to meet you at the abyss, and I shall travel far away from this place. Alright, so I have to go to the mouth of the abyss, which I believe is inside of Barad-dûr. Or maybe not. Maybe it's actually... Maybe it's telling me to go somewhere else. We'll see, we'll see. Looks like I got a reputation change for doing a bunch of quests. That's all fine and dandy. Actually, I can probably look at my map from in here, right? If I just look at Mordor, Dor Amarth. Yeah, it's gonna be right there. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty far. I'm trying to decide what I want to do. Because we are at the end of the episode. I think we'll probably call it an episode here. But I'm trying to decide where I want to start the next one. If I should just start over where the quest is or not. We'll figure it out. Can I exit through the front gate? Yes, I can. Okay, excellent. Very good. So now I gotta go all the way over there. I think that... Yeah, I'll start the next episode over there. But because it is quite a ride and I don't want to just be cutting around, we'll conclude this episode with me riding that way. So, if you want to watch that, enjoy the scenery, good for you. If you don't, see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for stopping by the Renaissance Gaming Monastery. I hope you join our community on Discord and Twitter. These videos are produced with a lot of hard work and love. If you think they're worth $1, I'd be grateful for your contribution. You can send a thanks donation or become a member on YouTube. You can also support through PayPal, Patreon, or even with cryptocurrency. All links are in the description. See you on the next video.